This is a 12 News Weather Alert. I'm Mike Montecalvo. Snow continues to come down steadily and it's piling up quickly. Drivers are being encouraged to stay off the roads today and tonight as trucks are banned on roads here in Rhode Island, Massachusetts and Connecticut. For the very latest on the forecast, let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca. Tony?
All right, Mike, everything moving ahead right on schedule. The storm really not pulling any surprises. We've got a widespread snow right now. Obviously, we're in the thick of it and has been coming down at a pretty good clip on Doppler radar. The blue represents the snow. And if you notice very closely, these stripes of darker blue, it's what we call banding on the Doppler radar. And when we see that during winter storms, it means that the snowfall rates have been increasing. And this is something that we'll be watching throughout the late afternoon and early evening. The increased rates of how much snow falls per hour will increase. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if later in the afternoon, especially between that 4 and say 7 p.m. time frame, we're snowing at the rate of 1 to 3 inches per hour. And look how expansive this is. Well to our south, there is some sleet denoted in pink near D.C. And later in the evening and during the overnight, especially along the coastline, we may start to see a transition over to sleet. But snowfall rates in some of these intense bands of 1 to 3 inches per hour expected again later in the afternoon towards the early evening. Very cold, poor travel, obviously very poor visibility. And at times when we get into some of these snowfall rates, what we call whiteout conditions where visibility is near zero. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a ground stoppage at Green Airport when we get some of these bands that come through. I mean, the visibility may be just a couple of feet, and whether or not some of the bridges have to be perhaps restricted or shut down during a short time in some of these intense snowfall rates. That's something that our newsroom will keep an eye on. As far as power outages, there's a slight chance with the amount of snow that we're forecasting, though the snow has a more dry texture to it, so it doesn't have a lot of weight, even though we're forecasting a lot of volume. Widespread steady snow in Newport in most areas now. As of 1:30 this afternoon, checking in with 3 inches with another 12 to 15 inches to go. So we're still forecasting quite a bit of snow, looking at the steady conditions in New Bedford as well. As we take a look at the forecast and we walk you through this hour by hour, the darker blues indicate the very heavy snow. This is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening. Take note, the sleet and pink starting to impinge the coastline by 8 o'clock in the evening. Sleet are those pellets of ice mixing with the snow. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, still snowing to the north, sleet to the south. But by that time, at least 70 to 80% of the accumulations have already occurred. Midnight, it's sleet and snow. Now for Monday, a storm system is offshore, and more than likely we'll still be seeing bands of light to moderate snow throughout the day on Monday. We may see some small additional accumulations both Monday morning and Monday afternoon, but the bulk of the snow will be now through tonight. Essentially all snow for everybody, including the coastline, but for a time this evening and during the overnight hours, especially south of Providence and near the coastline, some sleet will be mixing in. Haven't really budged from our forecast as far as the amount of snow. We've had this now for the last really several days. Right along the immediate shoreline, 8 to 12, though we are leaning more towards the high end here at 12. To the north of that, statewide, it's a general 12 to 18 inches of snow. On the low end, 12. On the high end, 18. You get up into this pink zone, which is far northern Rhode Island, northern Bristol County, Mass, Boston, 495, northeast Connecticut, southern Worcester County, potential for 18 or more inches of snow. This will be realized by later tonight. With the travel conditions, obviously we go from poor to terrible. It's in this zone right in here from 4 to 8 p.m. where these snowfall rates may be anywhere from 1 to 3 inches per hour. So for this afternoon, the snow becomes steadier and heavier. Temperatures cold, looking at northeast winds at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Snow continues for tonight. There'll be a little sleet mixing in, especially along the coastline, with temperatures rising actually into the upper 20s. And for tomorrow, poor travel continues with occasional snow. Some additional small accumulations can't be ruled out during Monday. So wrapping this all up, the heaviest of the snow is roughly 2 o'clock through 11 o'clock. In the evening at times, snowfall rates of 1 to 3. Significant accumulations of a foot or more. It's generally statewide, 12 to 18 inches of snow. Poor travel the remainder of the tonight and right on through tomorrow morning. And then some lighter snow with some smaller accumulations on Monday. There's your snow for Monday. The rest of the week is sharply colder than average, but otherwise dry, Mike, with temperatures in the 20s. And again, we're in the thick of it, and it'll continue tonight right on through tomorrow morning.
And it is coming down, and as Tony just mentioned, travel is expected to be difficult, if not impossible, throughout the night. Our crews captured plows out and about all day today, loading up and hitting the roads continuously. 12 News reporter Lauren Brill is at the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency with the latest on the state's preparations. Lauren?
I'm Lauren Brill reporting here in Cranston. We're at the Rhode Island Emergency Management Headquarters, where officials usually hold their briefings. Now, it's unclear if there is one scheduled for today, but in the meantime, we're checking out the current conditions over here on the roads. Now, as you can see, the snow is starting to come down heavy and really accumulate here, and driving conditions are getting a bit dangerous. Now, a few important reminders. Governor Dan McKee is telling people to stay off the roads. He's also implemented a truck travel ban on the highways here in Rhode Island. And then also here in Cranston, there is a parking ban until further notice. Now, again, we'll continue to bring you the latest updates here in Cranston from the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency. I'm Lauren Brill reporting in Cranston.
Lauren, thank you. You know it's a big-time storm when Tony's wearing his sweater, but we're both in blue for the Patriots at least.
We are. Plus, the other suit was at the dry cleaners.
All right. You know, difference with this, we're not talking blizzard, even though I think people think because we're getting so much snow, it is that. But there's no wind, right?
So the criteria for a blizzard is not snowfall amounts, but rather visibility, quarter mile or less, or sustained winds like 30, 35. So technically not meeting blizzard criteria, but this is certainly a high-impact storm, regardless of what we're calling it. 12 to 18 inches of snow. Our entire weather team is here. So when we're not on TV or on the 12 Plus TV app, but we're on the web, we're all over the place. So while you're watching the game, you can have the laptop, on your lap, looking at the weather, and then watching the Patriots win.
And they're going to win in Denver. They absolutely. At least the snow is light and not the heavy stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of water content, so the volume is pretty significant, but it's not like wet cement.
All right, Tony, thanks. And please stay with 12 News for the very latest on this storm. We'll have updates around the clock on WPRI.com and the free 12 Plus TV app.